Hello, and welcome to episode 438 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Did that music come through okay? I couldn't tell if it was loud enough. Let me know if the sound... I guess I don't use sound effects too often these days. But I'm looking at the little VU meter, and that seems pretty low. So I don't know what the deal is there, whether or not I need to do more to... Oh, you know what? I think I see it. Let's try that again.
Welcome
to the joy of code.
All right, maxing out the VU meter. We're in the yellow zone there. Feels good. Hey everyone. Welcome to episode 438 of The Joy of Coding. I'm Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Yeah, I'm seeing some chatter, no music. That's very low. That's better. Yeah, it's good now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the feedback. I'll try and play more sound effects today.
Hi-oh!
Oh, yeah.
What happened? Hey, what happened?
And we can make sure that we take full advantage of the volume correction I just made. I'll start by sharing my screen. Hey, that's right. It's April 29th, 2026. April's almost done. Oh, holy cow, we are cooking through this year. April's almost done. It's episode 438. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I kind of know what I want to do today. It's been a couple weeks. I didn't stream last week, and what I'm hoping to work on today is a continuation of what we were working on 2 weeks ago. It may take me a little bit to come back up to speed with where I was, because I haven't been working on it since then. So bear with me. Maybe I should do a better job of taking notes. I'll look at last time's notes, and maybe we can come up to speed. No plans for breakfast, but you're just gonna watch me deal with stuff as it comes. That's the whole point of the stream, is like you're watching me do on sort of mostly unprepared things. You're gonna watch me live hack in real time, make mistakes, get stuck, Miss Frizzle style, get messy. So that's how that goes. The second thing is the agenda that we're looking at. It's going to be in a different place depending on where you're watching the stream. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the details section over in that direction. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video description down below. And if you're watching this on Twitch, it's also down in the channel details down below. All right, so I had a question that came in. This says here, in the Firefox 150 release notes. So this question came in through the forum. I'm going to do my best to answer this. I haven't read this question all the way through. I just pasted it in. I'm going to try and answer it. All I do whenever the questions come in is like, I just make sure there aren't any swears, and then I just dump I dump it into the notes. And so you're going to watch me try and answer this real time. Oh, Firefox.com, English, Great Britain, Firefox 150 release notes states that backing up a profile to a file is now available to all Windows 10 and 11 users, but the linked page, this is like a sumo page, last updated 1 week ago, states, note, the ability to create backup files is currently only available to users on Windows 10. However, the functionality to create backup files locally seems to work on 11 and 150. Could you please clarify which is correct? It sounds like maybe our knowledge base is slightly out of date. Let us take a look at the release notes. As you say, the release notes. Let me look at my locale's release notes. 150. Backing up a profile to a file is now available to all Windows 10 and 11 users. Restore your Firefox. Is currently only available to users on Win 10.11. So this just got updated. I don't know when I don't know when this question came in, but this got ninja edited. So backing up to a file with the linked page, note the ability to create backup files. The ability states, note the ability only available. I think this has been corrected. You know, like the release just went it just happened last week. And I suspect this was just kind of like ninja edited. Let's take a look. Maybe we can see the, can we look at the edit history here? How do we do that? Edit history. Oh, I think I have to sign in. Hang on. I'm just going to sign in. Okay. So I'm signed in now. Is there show history? Alice. Let's take a look. So there's some unreviewed stuff. This is the current one. Let's compare between that and, say, last week, which the episode was on April 15th, or last time was April 15th. So we're going to look at the difference between those two. Yeah, this was changed for Windows 10, and the ability to restore backup files is only available on Windows 10 and 11. Note for not 150. Oh, you know what? It probably really depends on the version of Firefox that you're using. It looks like we're like hiding and showing based on which version you're using. Hello, what are we doing? Asks 500 internal waiter error. Well, right now I'm trying to answer a viewer question. So here's the deal. I'm going to summarize by saying I believe this has been fixed. If you're using 150 and you go to the Sumo page, it should be saying that you can use backup and you can restore on both 10 and 11. I also have some good news. If you're on beta, the latest beta, the one that just built today, has backup enabled by default. So if you go, like the ability to do backups, it's not backup. It's not doing backups by default, but you can go into the sync section of settings and you can turn it on. And I recommend it. You know, it's a good idea to have your stuff ready to roll in a separate backup. In the event that your profile ever gets corrupted, or maybe you delete something you didn't mean to, or I don't know, you want to move your data between devices. That's the primary use case, actually. This is to help people move their data between devices, as well as keeping it safe. It's like, this is kind of like a way of doing that without an account, because, you know, sync is a great way of kind of having your experience reflected across multiple devices. But this is backup is a way of doing it without necessarily needing an account, and it is you know, you the trade being you have to like manage a file, you have to move a file around. And Danny Colin writes out that you can contribute to the Sumo knowledge base. That's right. If you have you can create an account on sumo.mozilla.org to answer questions. You can help out in the forums. You can ask a question, certainly, but you can answer questions if you see people needing help, or they're curious about something. You can answer their questions, and you can also submit corrections to the knowledge base in the event that there's something here that doesn't look right. And yeah, there's contributors. This is a great place to do volunteer contributor work. If maybe you don't necessarily know how to or want to write patches, this is a great way of contributing and making the browser better for everyone. Is making sure the documentation is decent. So yeah, backup. Try it. You can, if you've got beta, you can turn it on, and it should, if all goes well, ride out to everybody on release on desktop in 151 in, when is that? Middle of May, I think, right? May 18th. So 20 days. In 20 days. Sorry, May 19th is, 18th is the merge day. 19th is the release day. So on May 19th, presuming that QA gives it a solid bill of health and they're all happy, then this will be available for everyone. Linux, Mac OS, Windows 10 and 11. And it should be cross-platform compatible. It should be possible for you to like take a backup that was created on Windows and load it on a Linux machine, or load it on a Windows a Mac OS machine. It should be cross-platform compatible. And if you find bugs with it, and you might, you know, we're being slowly but surely, like, I'm not really working on backup anymore. I was working on it back in 2024. And then I handed it, I got pulled onto other things, and another team picked it up to sort of finish the job. And if you find problems with it, though, there is a component in Bugzilla for it. Firefox : profile backup. So under the Firefox product, under profile backup, you can file bugs. You can, maybe there's a feature request. Maybe there's something that we missed backing up that you think we should be backing up. Maybe you find a problem. Maybe it's not working for you. This is a great way of letting us know, is filing bugs. Okay, so hopefully I answered that question, whoever asked that question, and now we can move on to what I was hoping we could do, which is continuing to work on this download sidebar and the sort of HTMLifying the existing component. So let's go ahead. I rebased the patches just before this stream, but I haven't really looked at it. One thing I recall us doing, and again, I'm coming back up to speed after 2 weeks away, is that we were working on these tests. We were, this is a good idea if you are refactoring something, is if there aren't a whole lot of tests for the things you're refactoring, start with the tests. Start with the stuff that, like the behaviors that you don't expect to change, make sure they're tested, and then do the sort of refactor rejigging, and that sort of helps you build your confidence that you haven't broken stuff in your refactor. 500 internal waiter error asks, do you think I contribute code to Firefox even if I never worked on a browser before and don't really do much low-level coding? Yeah, I think you can. I know plenty of people who have contributed to Firefox who doesn't necessarily do a whole lot of low-level coding. It may surprise you to know this, but a lot of the Firefox front end, the majority of the Firefox front end, is written using JavaScript, CSS, and a markup, HTML, and a markup language that looks suspiciously like HTML called Zool. And so if those things are comfortable for you, then you could potentially contribute. One thing I highly recommend you do, if that interests you at all, is you can go to codetribute.mozilla.org and you can find a good first bug. So for example, if you want to work on the Firefox desktop front end, you could potentially find some good first bugs here that are unassigned, that sort of strike your fancy, that are mentored, and you can like help push those along. And you create a Bugzilla account, a free Bugzilla account, figure out how to clone the code and build the browser. That's the fairly important first step. But there's plenty of documentation. If we look at, no, not this one. If we look at building Firefox, getting set up to work on the Firefox code base, this is a great place to get started. So question from this person was, do you think I contribute to... Okay, this was the question. So I'd say read this documentation to get yourself a local build going. That's very important. And then visit Codetribute if you want to find... this is important if you want to contribute to Firefox, because there are lots of other things listed on Codetribute that aren't like specifically Firefox. Like there's plenty of open source parts, things at Mozilla, like the add-ons website, or the Common Voice project, or I'm just picking things out of the air, like the mobile products like Firefox Focus or Firefox for Android, or this extension, Firefox multi-account containers, or the VPN client, or the localization platform, like all of these things, all of them that exist in this universe of open source projects that may or may not have some interesting bugs for you to work on. It doesn't have to be Firefox, but you're welcome to contribute to Firefox. And if you are going to contribute to Firefox, my first recommendation is make sure you can build it locally. That's very important. If you can't do that, it's very difficult to write a patch for it. So that's my recommendation, 500 internal waiter error. But just because you haven't done any low-level coding before or worked on a browser before doesn't mean you can't contribute. Of course you can contribute. You just have to, apply yourself, figure out an interesting part of the code base that you want to work on, explore it, read it, try your best to understand it, try making some changes locally, see if it works, etc., and then submit a patch. And there's documentation on how to submit a patch as well. Where was I? Contributing. So this is important. This is contributing to DevTools. We want something a little more general. Contributors, how to contribute code to Firefox. This is good stuff to know. Contributing code. This will also connect you with the right, if you want to go talk to people. If you want to talk to people who are going to help you get set up, there's an introduction matrix channel that you can ask in. There's a quick reference for a checklist, finding something to work on, fixing a bug, getting your code through review. This is worth reading if you really want to know like the nitty gritty. And Danny Colin writes that there's plenty of JS code in Firefox if you don't know C or C++. Absolutely. And the majority of what we're going to be working on today is going to be JavaScript and HTML, really. So going back to what I was hoping to focus on, which was this test and the thing that we are testing. I want to continue fleshing out the test as we refactor the things. So we were testing show button, which remind me again. I have to like get myself back up to speed on where all these bits and pieces are. Show button downloads. So this is the thing that we're testing inside downloads view UI. So sorry, it's not test show button. It's just show button. So we wrote a test for show button, and then we should probably test hide button. And what did our test for show button do? It's going to make sure that the right button appears in all of these different cases. Okay, and then hide button's really just making the button go away. So let's do that. Test hide button. Now I don't think we have to test all these variations necessarily, but non-panel, create a simple... I don't think it matters if it's a non-panel or a panel type. So we'll just say like download view UI. What was the other one? Yeah, download view UI. We'll create a simple download view UI. And then we don't have to worry about the is panel stuff because the behavior doesn't change between panel and non-panel. And then I think we can get rid of everything down here. We don't need this. And then we're going to show a button of, let's say, show. And then we are going to make sure that the button is not hidden. So let's see. Button command. No, we don't care about that. Don't care about that. We just want to know if the button's hidden. The button is not hidden. And then we're going to call download view UI.hide button. And then we will make sure that it is hidden. And that's our test. Okay. The button is hidden. Okay. Let us test that. Run the test. And then what was the next one? And then there's a bunch of like these sort of like pseudo there were a couple of pseudo methods here and things that like don't really, at least as far as I know, don't really they use the other parts of the like the other methods and accessors to manipulate the DOM, so I'm less concerned about testing those right now. Maybe we can move on to set the value correctly on the target. Got undefined on line 105. Got undefined and expected my cool file. Did I? This is a new failure. This wasn't failing last time. Did something change? Let's make sure that we're building properly. Oh, you know what it is? I think I know what's going on. Hold on. Hold. I expect this to still fail, and then I'll tell you what I think's going on. Okay. So the reason that I think that's failing is because we were creating the tests in this earlier patch in the stack, and they were all passing, and then this was like some half-finished work to start using HTML elements that we'd started last week at the end, and yeah, we haven't gotten it all to pass yet. We weren't there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this test change and I'm going to squash it into this earlier revision. Squash into YYO. I think that'll work. Yeah, and then I'm going to check out YYO. I'm going to base off of that so that we have undone the HTMLification temporarily, and I believe the tests should pass now. We should be in that condition. All right, let's run that test again. Yeah, okay. As expected. So now the question is, how come it is failing with the HTML version? Build faster, and then, oh, I'm out of coffee. Shame. Shame. Okay, so we're failing at which point? Set the value correctly on the target. So when we call show display name and icon, which is checking to see here, not using Fluent. So we're doing this pathway, and we're setting an attribute value in tooltip text, and we are expecting that the value the download target used to be what? This is interesting. The download target used to be, if we take a look at the topmost commit here, download target what is download target? That's is gone. That's why we got rid of the download target, which was this description here. Oh. Main area, an image, a container. We have this download target crop equals center, which I don't know how that's going to work, but okay. We do have a download target. What are you talking about? But, so we do have download target. A description has a value property. That's the thing. A description, if you look at Zool description, what is a Zool description? Description under Zool? Zool map. Description is based off of, how do we find out what a description is? Zool element, list box, menu, text element. A Zool text element. Zool text element should have probably a value. M value. Yeah, an M value. Get value? No. Zool. Yeah, it inherits it from Zool text element. And it's pulling that off of the value property. Whereas whenever we're using this HTML version, download target, I actually don't think we want to use the value property on this. We want to set the text content equals display name. So that means we're also going to want to update the test. And tooltip text, span tooltip. How do you... I'm trying to remember. MDN play. Okay, so if I'm here and I have a span, and this is some text, you don't get a tooltip by default. I don't think it's going to pay any attention. Hello? I don't think it's going to pay any attention to that. But if I do title, I'll bet it does. Yeah, there you go. So that's what we want, is we want dot. We can set the title to be the display name. Now let's just double check that. MDN title on a like an element, the title property represents the title. The text usually displayed in a tooltip pop-up when the mouse is over the node. Yeah, this has been around for a while. Inner text is grapes. Title. What's the difference between inner text and text content? Says the rendered text content of a node's descent as a getter approximates the text the user would get if they highlighted the contents. Inner text is easily confused with text content, but there's an important difference between you. Basically, inner text is aware of the rendered appearance of text, while text content is not. Oh, I see. So inner text content, inner text will take styles into account. That's interesting. Oh, here's an example. Take a look at how the text is interpreted below. Result. Take a look at how this text is interpreted below. Hidden text. Inner text, or the text result of inner text, result of text content, is it CIC. I see. So, if we were to take the source elements, yeah, and then we set the text content. Text content is like everything. Inner text is like, okay, well, we don't normally render the CSS rules or this stuff that's hidden right here, displayed none. Well, that's, we don't really need to worry about that. We're going to just set the title here. Okay, but that also means we need to update our test to, instead of using value, we're going to use text content. And then we're going to get the title. Set the title correctly. Now, does that test pass? Yes, it does. They all do. Incredible. That was easy. Now, what is the details? Details. Because that's also using value in tooltip text. That's this span. So what does it mean? Because, like, we're getting the attribute value. What is the hover used for? Crop and normal, hover, button hover. Oh, I think we hide and show this based on whether or not the mouse is hovering. Okay. Okay, so we need to do the same thing here, where we're going to set the text content for all of these. So any kind of like get attribute value, we're going to replace with text content. So replace, and then get attribute tooltip text. Let's find. Yeah, replace. Oh, whoa, sorry. No. I undo. We need to replace that with get attribute title. Replace. Right, did I miss one? I have to go through some of these again. bunch of failures. Should have the set the text test status. Got that. Expected all good. The test status on the normal details element on 124. So we're getting the text content of k test status. We're saying show status. Now remind me again what show status does. And we are just passing in a string, right? Because that's, yeah, it's just a string. We are setting the attribute. Okay, so here we're going to go text content equals status. We are going to set, set attribute title. And then down here, text content equals hover status and set attribute title. And then here, because we're changing how the Fluent works, we may actually have to change some of this. Status L10 and ID and args. So show status. Like downloads open file. Where is that? It's setting dot value. We're gonna have to migrate this so that instead of setting the value, it's setting it's just gonna like assign like just equal open file. Same with these as well. Instead of dot value, it's just gonna be using these directly. Okay, so we're gonna have to be writing some migrations. It's kind of annoying. But we will do that. Okay, so let's see what's failing now. Got null, expected all good on line 125 here. Right, because instead of tooltip text, we should be getting the title. Somehow that all passed. I am skeptical. But it appears that it's all working. You know what it is, actually? It's because it's just checking the L10N IDs. It's not checking to see whether or not the text content is actually set properly. Because that's, it's not looking at the strings. It's just looking at the Fluent assignment. Okay. Well, let us now start updating these strings. This is going to be maybe not super fun, but let's do some of these. These are the commands. It's really the statuses that we need to update. Not the commands. Okay, displayed when the user clicked on a download in process. So where is this used? Get formatted time status, which is then going where? Show status. Okay, so this needs to be updated instead of dot value. So we update the key and then we do that. Today's agenda is working, but the previous stream is giving a 404. Oh no! Did I do it wrong? Agendas 437, 430. Yeah, it's not going. Why is that? It's exported. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Does that did that just go through? Hang on. Let's see. Syncing episode 437. There it is. There it is. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but it's up now. Okay. So we're migrating these strings. Now, I just need to remember, I'm pretty sure I need to rev the IDs when we update the strings, even if they're just with a migration. But I need to look at some past migrations. Fluent migrations. Here, we're copying homepage title, copy pattern, homepage. Copy pattern. Suggest one. Description. Yeah, like this was here 4 months ago. Let's take a look at how this works. So they add a bunch of new strings, and then there's a fluent address bar, suggest one. Comes from the old one. Address bar suggest one, and then address bar header one. Yeah. Okay. I think I do need to. All right. Hold on a second. Migrations. When migrating existing, it's possible. Copy source, copy pattern. Original message, new message. This type of change does require a new message identifier. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We have to rev these. Three. Four. Three. Two. And then down here, downloads again. Two. Cancel download. Two. Downloads history. The strings shown at the bottom of the downloads panel. I don't think we're changing that. The string is shown at the top of the downloads subpanel. No, we're not changing that. The string is displayed in the private browsing view of the downloads panel. I don't think we're changing those. The string is shown when there are no items in the downloads view when it's displayed inside a browser tab. That's the list, though, not. Yeah, that's the list. No items in the panel. So I think that's all we needed to migrate, actually. Dot value. Command show more. Oh, okay, here. When hovering a blocked download, we need to migrate these to open file 2. And then now these commands. These might, because like tooltip text isn't we don't pay attention to tooltip text. Dot value, downloads list empty, and that's it. Okay, so that should take care of all the hover ones. These buttons, though, these commands, like show button 2. tooltip text is wrong. It should be title because of the button. Show button. Because the button we're setting on the button downloads button is an HTML button, not a Zool button. So it has no idea what a tooltip text is. So we do have to increase that, do this. Oh, nope, don't have to do that for the ARIA label. We will have to do it here. Wait, command show description. When's that used? Oh, I see, I see. And what's that set on? Description, Elton, and ID. If we're going to set it on the button. Okay, on the when we're hovering the button. So that one we do need to update. Equals. I think that pattern works. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna de-indent those. Command retry. That's another button one, right? Yeah. So that needs to be title. So that's 2. Retry panel. Go to download page. Dot label. When is that used? That is a menu item. That does not need to be updated. Command retry though is the button, right? Command retry. Yeah, it's the button. That's why it needs to be updated. Go to download page. These ones, I think these are all menu items. These do not need to be updated. Yeah. Same with this. Yeah. Clear list. Yeah. Clear downloads. And then delete file. Yeah, these are all menu items inside the panel or whatnot. And then this command, not a button. Actually, let me start up here. So command unblock is where I ended. Command resume. Command cancel. Aha, that's a button. Okay, so this one we do need to transition. Cancel 2. We're going to change that to be the title. And then command show menu item 2. That's fine, it's a menu item. Use command use system default. Set attributes on the use system viewer item, which is query selector, download use system default menu item. This is inside of what is that? Okay, it's in the panel or the context menu, so we don't have to worry about that one. I think that's the same thing, and I'll bet you this is the same thing. Always use system viewer item. Yeah. Okay. This is in the dialogue. I know that one. And then this, we've already updated these. Okay, so now we can go back down to I think we were, yeah, here. This one we need to update. And choose open. Hovering a block download, open file, that's great. These were already updated. Yeah, I think that's most of them. We've probably missed a few. We'll get through them when we start noticing. Like, we're gonna let's actually take a second here and take a look at what everything looks like. Like, we've been running the tests, they all pass. Let's actually do some downloading now and see if we can see what this download stuff looks like, because it could look horribly broken. And that's fine. We're gonna deal with it. Okay, so let's do a simple one. Let's go to mozilla.org. Let's download this image. What's an image here? Here's an image. Save image. Save. Okay, so that's horribly broken. I don't even see the text in the so our test is programmatically checking, but visually speaking we are busted. So let's see what's going wrong here. So the button does have data L10E command show panel 2 set on it, which should be setting the ARIA label on it. So what? Show panel 2. When it's in the panel, we use panel L10NID for the show button. And the L10NID is this. Command show button 2. If we're in the panel, set the attribute on hover. Oh, because it's not supposed to actually have any text. It is supposed to have an icon. It's supposed to have an icon. That's the problem. So the styling here is all wrong. We're not, I see the download button here, background color. Presumably there's supposed to be some kind of image. Download icon show. Like, where's download icon show? Right, so it's got this understanding of like, oh, you've got this button box and then a button icon. Well, that's not how things work anymore. We have the download icon show, and then I think we just do what do we do with buttons that aren't Zool buttons? Let's take a look. Style editor. Download. What is this? All downloads Inc. is brought into what? All downloads view. Downloads. Panel. Downloads Inc. If I'm on Mac OS, it's saying I should be seeing this icon. So if I get rid of these, do I get the icon? Download icon show. I should have list style image set, but I don't think list style image means much to buttons. What about background image? Yeah, there we go. What are we supposed to do for setting icons on buttons? What is the sort of the convention? I need to remember what we were supposed to do. Like, should this be a Moz button instead? Instead of a button. And then what can you do with a Moz button? Icon. You can set it like in script or in markup. How do you do it? How do you do it in CSS? And are you supposed to? Oh boy. Moz button. Let's take a look at Storybook. Button. Icon. So that's by setting icon source on it. This isn't the same thing as a Moz button. But this is the button that we're probably using. No, sorry. This is a Zool button. The binding for a Zool button. We want Moz button. Icon. Interesting. So let's see where Moz button is used. And of type icon, type size icon, icon small. Icon ghost is probably what we want. What is the definition of an icon ghost? Icon ghost. There we go. Here's the icon sources baked in. Let's see. Here, that's all baked in. Get icon source from sidebar tab list, tab note menu, icon ghost on a Moz button. Okay, so this one doesn't have a programmatic icon set. So how do you set the icon on it? Color, delete button. Note, test note. Trash can. Trash can. Where's that coming from? Image is set to delete. But why? How did you do that? Ah, programmatically. Here. Okay, so maybe we're shifting into a new world here where we don't set icons with CSS anymore, and that it's all being done programmatically from script. Very well. Before we commit ourselves to Moz button, let me just go back to button.js widgets button. Moz button base extends that, which is used by Moz button, which is used by just button. And in here, does it have anything about a button icon? Ah. See, but that's Zool. Can't use it. Can't use it. Source equals image. Yeah, can't use it. So instead of using and what's more, this is not a Zool button. This is just an HTML button, and so almost certainly I think we want to use a Moz button here. So let's start there. Let's go back to Downloads View UI. And then instead of this, we're going to use a Moz button of class download button. And then the class set attribute icon class. I think that's where we'll want to fix it. So G download. So the icon class download icon. I think this is what's setting the icons. And I think we're going to make all of these programmatic instead. So instead of icon class, we'll say this is like icon source. So cancel is that one. And retry is this one. Icon source. And show, it's going to depend on Windows or anything but Mac OS. It's this, but if it's Mac OS, it's this. So we're going to need some kind of like selection show. So do we have app constants here? Bring in app constants. Why is that? Okay. So show app constants dot platform equals Mac. Is that otherwise? It's this. icon subview arrow. Open or remove file. That's all gonna have to change. So it's arrow left. Oh, see, this is a pain because this used to do a great job of like RTL and LTR. Surely we've thought this through. Is there an example? RTL. Something that would be using Moz button or part button, background position. We would just flip. Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. Okay, so here's what we'll do. It's the same approach as there. Is we will we'll do arrow left and then we'll just flip it with the CSS. So icon source, arrow left, to do update CSS to flip mirror this for RTL. A download icon show. And download icon cancel. Download icon cancel is this one. Now we can duplicate some of this by having const show icon source equals that. And then we'll just replace this. And this. And this. Okay. So then, instead of icon class, we're going to say pull the icon source. And instead of setting the attribute, the class to be download button plus icon source, we're always going to have download button applied. So download button it's always going to have download button applied. We're not actually going to change the class. We are instead going to set the icon source Is that right? Moz button. I thought for sure it was icon source. Yeah, icon source. Download button. We'll just like do icon source equals icon source. And now we're gonna make our download button a Moz button instead, which is done. Okay, let us build that and see what happens. See what's up. If we can get the button icon looking okay today, I'll feel pretty good about that. So the button tests need to be updated to not use the icon class. So instead of checking that the class list is that, we're gonna say icon source. We're gonna say is icon source equal to icon source. The button has the icon source set. And it's complaining because that. Then icon class is there down here. Okay, so is icon source that icon source. The button has the icon source set. Rerun. Good. All right, now we run. Actual run, and we'll take a look. So let's download an image, shall we? Okay, still no good. Let's see what's going on. Oh, hey, come on now. I thought, did I have to do mock build? Icon source. Yeah, I think I have to do mock build. That's a pain. Mock build. Or maybe it was mock build faster. It's probably mock build faster would have done the job. But I think I have to do that because there's like some includes and pre-processor stuff happening with downloads. It's pretty old school. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to have a real menagerie of downloaded files when this is all done. Yes, replace. Okay, we got our icon. Very nice, very nice. Now, why is the alignment so busted? Let us look at that. I mean, right off the bat, I think it's because our rich list item, the body, we have this like body element. That's kind of annoying. Then the main area has this flex one that doesn't make any sense. So instead, what this should be is like display flex direction column. No, row. This, then this, and then the button. Oh, the body itself. Oh, that's awkward. Should this be inside here? And then the button can like align self end. Justify self end. The div is flex. It's Moz button. Width margin. It's a flex item. I need you to be at the end. The whole appearance none thing is also kind of silly. A lot of this can go away. Because it's a Moz button now. It's just a normal Moz button. And I want this to like snick over to the end there. I'm trying to remember how to do that. It's like flex one? No. Align. I thought it was align self end. Flex end. No? How big is the width here? It's there. Then we have the image. Then we have that. Then we have this hidden image, the badge, and then we have this button. And I thought this would like flow itself to the end. MDN align self. Align items value and grid aligns the item so and Flexbox aligns the item on the cross axis. So not I don't want that. I want justify self flex end. Doesn't make sense apparently. Since it's not a grid or not absolutely positioned, try. No, I don't want to do that. What is the align self? I want. Man, I'm just having to remember how to use Flexbox. And there's justify. All right, Flexbox. One dimensional. Display flex section, and then cross size main end flex container. Columns or rows. Mine's a row. And then it wraps. Sizing of flex items, of sub items. Great. And then alignment. Justification. Self. Flex. See, this is on the cross axis. Yeah, okay. And then items in a flex container. Justify content, align items, align content. It's not quite what I want. Not quite it. Main axis. Flex direction column, cross axis. So when we're in flex direction row, we want to be at the end of the main axis. I don't want to do it on the cross axis. I want to do it on the main axis. Here we go. 200 pixels. How am I like, hey, one of these things, send it to the end. Here we go. DE, how'd you do that? Using, auto margins. Should have known. Margin, inline start, auto. There, that's kind of what we want. Interesting. Okay, and then if I hover this, I don't get a... It's trying to set tooltip text on it. Which is wrong. Show panel 2. Description, L10 NID. Attributes on hover. The hover. Downloads button hover equals download details button hover, which is this span underneath here. Download target, progress, and then these spans are all missing. How'd that happen? Where'd these spans go? So here, let's do this. Let's put this in here. And then instead of importing the body, we'll import the body first child. Smurf D says that they're ain't afraid of no ghosts. Hey, that's great. Also, there's a long history of like Ghostbuster references in the Firefox source code. Zool, for example, the markup language, that's a Ghostbusters 1 reference. There used to be a JavaScript debugger called Venkman. I wrote a tool called PKE Meter one time, which that's definitely a Ghostbusters reference. Okay, so none of the CSS stuff that I did, I saved it or didn't use it. That's fine. But like, where are these spans going? Download target. The progress goes in. Progress is missing as well. Are these being removed from the DOM somehow? Why is this body still on here? And the button's... What's going on here? The button's still outside. Did I not save? The button should be inside. Build. Mock build. Just to be safe. Download main area. Downloads content. There. If I had to take a shot every time Mike said button a day, liver damage. Or maybe you're taking a shot of I don't know, vitamin C. Vitamin C overdose. Okay, so there we go. That's showing up. Still, where are those spans going? Download container. So we've got our main area. Our icon makes it. Download container. We have a span in there. And then the progress goes away. Like, inner HTML. Yeah, it's just the one thing, the one span. Why is the other stuff gone? Display, flex. So here's what we'll do. We'll say flex, and we'll also say button. Download button. We can get rid of a lot of this stuff. In fact, I think we get rid of like all of this. To do remove this stuff. Actually, I think we just straight up remove this stuff. Except for this. Download icon, subview arrow. We will flip that. In RTL builds. Transform. Scale X -1, I think is how we do that. Yeah, direction. I think we can just do like dir RTL. Transform scale X -1. Now we get rid of these. Okay. The button. Button and button icons. Download button. Margin, inline, start, auto. Okay. That works. Build. Build, 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 build. Only a few minutes remaining, but so far so good. I'm feeling pretty good about what we've got so far. It's somewhat functional. It's starting to look a little bit better. I think the big mystery is where those spans are going. Sports game. Save image. What? How come you're not aligned to the end? I thought I said auto. Margin, inline, start, auto. Oh. Does this need to be like flex 1? Yeah, okay, that's what's up. So download main area. Display, flex 1. That's getting close. And functionally does that. Although that should be not the folder icon. That should be the magnifying glass icon. So what's going on there? How come that's not the magnifying glass icon? It's showing folder.svg, even though we set up here the show icon source. If the platform is Mac, we should be using search glass. Set attribute button is null. Okay. A lot of problems here still. A lot of problems. App constants.platform. Mac OS X, that's what it should be. Mac OS X. Okay. Okay. All right. So last thing, and then I'll call it. I expect the magnifying glass to appear. I expect, yeah. Let's see. Somewhat aligned, and then next week maybe we can investigate. Here, I'm gonna put it under our to-dos for next week. We're gonna investigate where those spans are going. That's very mysterious. Yeah, that's looking closer. And we got the magnifying glass. Nice. I do think we do have to do something kind of special though for the ghost icon. Whenever the button, this is a button itself, and it's like I remember this is weird, it's like a button within a button. So we have this like special styling on here, but we're getting closer. Okay, now actually download test files. Let's download a large file. Let's also throttle our network to 2G, and we're going to download 100 megs. Boo, it doesn't like it. And then this icon is flipped the wrong way. Potential security risk. Allow the download. Okay. And so this is happening, and we see the X. I'm going to stop. So that all wires up correctly, but the progress isn't showing, and the status with the estimate, all that stuff's not showing. We need to get that stuff working. That'll be next week. So that's what I'm going to put in here. For next week, where are those spans going? Where is the progress going? Because our tests are still passing. So presumably there is a progress element, or at least there is in our test configuration. Why is that progress element not appearing in our sort of like production context? That is the question that hopefully we can answer next week. Let's run the test one more time. I think this building thing has also been burning me a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna commit this. And then like another to do, build fluent migration for the strings we moved. Yeah, that's all great. So squash and fix button styling to match existing button behavior. Yeah, where are those elements going? Where are they going? Remove. Do we ever remove the... No. Inner HTML? Or... Yeah, where are they going? We will figure that out next week. We'll set up some special traps and figure this out. It's also possible, like, download target, download details. Is it because these are like multi-line? No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Hey, thanks so much. I don't want to get wrapped up into that mystery. That is a fascinating mystery. Thanks so much for watching episode 438 of The Joy of Coding. We are making slow but steady progress on making this download item HTML based, which will be good because we can reuse it in the sidebar. That'll be fantastic. Looking forward to that. Thanks for watching episode 438 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. There's a link here to rate this episode in the forum. I'll even drop a link to that in the chat. Link to rate this episode. And I answer questions. If you want to ask any questions of me, feel free to drop them in that form. And I'll do my best to try and answer them on the stream like I did with this one. And with that, I'll call it there. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching The Joy of Coding. I will see you hopefully next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.